Hey there, Rod Pusey from RoadFS and Detail Bookie. You might be asking yourself, what in the heck is the software guy doing video on product? Well, I do a lot of work here in my shop. This is my place. I do some paint work, I do body work, all kinds of stuff. So our friends at PeelClear were gracious enough to send me a whole kit of PeelClear, which I'm not sure if you're not aware of what it is. It is a base coat, top coat, peelable PPF, if you will. It's a little bit thicker than that, but it's a real good protectant, and then it peels off when you're done with it, which is fabulous. It has all the properties of a paint and a clear coat, but without all the prep work of sanding the car down. So we're gonna be going through the whole process. I went through the training. Several steps to the training. There's prep work, then there's the paint of the base coat, then there's the top coat, and then there's the cleanup and denibbing and things like that. So what I've got here is a quarter panel of a 1955 Chevy Bel Air. This is actually an art piece. I just hang these on the wall. I have a 55 Bel Air and I just thought it was cool. This one is in pretty good shape. It has a little bit too much filler. That's why it was taken off the car. It's real rough. Don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's like sandpaper. So I stopped the process right here to do the video. We're gonna do a traditional clay bar on this to clean it up a little bit, even though it's just a test panel. And then we're gonna be taping it off, talk about what that is, and go through the whole process step by step so that you can understand what PeelClear is. And then I'm gonna give it kind of an assessment of what I think about it. How it reacted, how easy it was to spray or not easy, and go through that whole process. So stay tuned, 55 Chevy with PeelClear. Okay, so according to the PeelClear website and the training that you take, wash the surface, remove any waxes and sealants, obviously non-wax or sealant foam spray, which I've already done, and now we're just using traditional clay bar. I've been working this for a little while, getting my reps in with my hands. So we're gonna spray some good solution on here that is gonna get it all slippery, and then we're gonna try to get this thing all cleaned up. With clay bar, you wanna do in small areas, and you wanna make sure that if it's getting contaminated, that you fold it back over itself so that contaminant goes inside. So we're just gonna start up here. Again, this is a test panel, obviously, so I'm not as concerned with it, but I want to go through the whole process like we talked about that the training shows you, so you can get an idea of everything you would need to do if this were someone's actual car and not just a cool test panel. And I assume this is going to have quite a bit of junk in it. It's been sitting outside of my shop for, I want to say, 2 or 3 years. For all of you that don't think clay bars do anything, that is some of the muck that's on there. So then when we do this is we just work it back in, get this clay bar all nice and clean again, if you will. And it kind of absorbs into the clay bar. You're not going to use this clay bar. Again, this is going to go in the trash when I'm done with it because this is a mess. So, and there you go, we're back to normal. And I can just feel the crud that's on this panel from, like I said, years of sitting outside. But this is almost like real world example if you've got a car that's never been touched, if you will. I have removed the gas filler. One of the recommendations from PeelClear is that you remove door handles, you remove mirror cups, emblems, anything that's going to give you an area where you won't get a clean break from the PeelClear. It makes it harder to peel off. So there you can see it's getting a little better. I'm just going to flip this over and go over it one more time and just see if I can get it. My solution's getting a little dry here, so I don't want to get too much more, but like I said, this is literally the first time in like 5 years I've even washed this panel just because it sits outside. Still dirty. So, all right. So now we get that panel wiped down. Not bad. Again, I'm going to reiterate that you need to go through the training and watch what they're doing and follow it. Way, way better. Still a few areas that are rough, but again, this is a really rough panel. But I'm happy with that as far as what our test is going to be. So the next step is removal of things and taping stuff off. The video is in a great length about removing emblems, door handles, anything that's going to cause a bridge, which means that your PeelClear is going to touch something that's going to make it more difficult to peel off or not peel off at all. Because I don't have anything on this, I did remove the gas filler because I knew that would be a problem. I'm going to tape it off from the inside as if this was like a hood or a door, so that we do get a clean break from it. Okay, at this stage, we're going to make sure we make a conscious effort to show you. This is a test panel, so I'm not going to do any paint correction, but this would be the part you're going to do paint correction if you see some things on this. This has got all kinds of scratches, scrapes. There's a run over here in the clear coat that would need to be sanded down and fixed. There's a couple of scuffs. So again, it's a test panel, but just, you know, insert here where you would make the car look as good as you can prior to spraying. I'm going to be taping it off. You're going to be using some green or yellow body type of tape. PeelClear recommends that you leave an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of a gap around on the inside of a hood or a door so that you can get a good crisp line when you're peeling it back off. Because again, this is a removable, right? PPF traditionally, you're tugging and pulling, you're heating it up. This is gonna peel off of there, but you've gotta have that high, solid, and then a clean break. So instead of just spraying this, I know it's gonna be difficult to take it off, so I am gonna tape the edges of this on the back side, and then I'm gonna also tape off my shop so that I don't get PeelClear all over everything. And then when I come back, we will have this stuff taped off, except for some of the things I'll show you what the manufacturer recommends, and then we'll start the other process. Okay, on to the taping part. So again, test panel, I taped this off just to give you an idea. Don't really care about this panel, but I wanna have crisp lines where I'm gonna peel it back off. In the case of the vehicle, you're gonna tape this off all the way to the floor because as you spray, if you've never sprayed before, as you spray, if you get down to the ground, you can kick up some contaminants if your floor is not perfectly clean. Other areas here, I kept, like PeelClear recommends, about 1/8 of an inch around there so that it's got a nice clean cut. Now I am going to have to score the PeelClear when I take it back off, this tape and everything, anywhere where there's a bridge. And again, a bridge is you've got a panel that you don't want the PeelClear on, or your tape, and you've got the PeelClear. That, when you peel the tape off, you could peel it completely off. So you have to score that very carefully, like PPF. You don't go down to the original paint, but I'm gonna have to score the PeelClear on that. And I went around here just to kind of get an idea of emulation of what it would be like if I had taped off the car. So we got a tape around there, would be all the way down to the floor. I've got a nice crisp line across the top. When I get to spraying, I'll show you that. And then the rest of this stuff, like these holes, they wouldn't actually be there, or you'd be taping them off because that's gonna go underneath. But for this demo, we've got it taped off, okay? If this is a car, we'd have the windows taped off and the moldings taped off and or removed if you could take those off. As much as you can do to get the car to where the PeelClear is where you want it to be, and it definitely is not where you don't want it to be. Do it once over, do it twice over before you spray. Next step on this is gonna be isopropyl alcohol to wipe this all down, and a tack rag. Tack rags, if you're not familiar, it's kind of a sticky rag, it's tacky, and it actually picks up any lint, dust, dirt. Before I do any of that, I'm gonna be taping off my shop. Behind you, you won't see it, but there's a wall that's already down, draped down so that the rest of my shop doesn't get covered. And then we're gonna be taping off these panels behind that I'm in the middle of working on. And then we will get rolling with some paint. And as next step of this PeelClear project, I put up a temporary paint booth. It's just a 10 by 10, covered it with sheeting. I like to have filtered air going in, and then on the inside I have filtered air that's going out. Mostly to protect the shop, but also it keeps all any kind of, particulates in the air from getting on the paint. This is ghetto, okay? So understand this is just a temporary thing. We're still painting this panel. We'll do the final wipe down and we'll go over some stuff. One of the things I want to go over is the stuff that comes in the PeelClear kit. This is the kit that they sent me. There's base coat, there's some reducer if you need that. There is the top coat, and then there's the activator. There's some surface primer, which is really important. And then I've got some dye, some black dye that we will not be spraying today, and then some pearl that we'll be doing a different day. Kind of cool to do some colorant on there. And then again, you've got your paint guns. Most important thing with the paint guns here is that you have something that is waterborne safe. And what the difference between a paint gun that is and is not is the internal components are stainless steel, so they can resist the water. So mixing ratios and all of that, you need to follow the instructions that came with the PeelClear. The base coat is just basically dump it in and go unless you need to reduce it. Pretty decent day today for this inside of the shop. As far as humidity, probably none. It's a heated shop, so we're gonna be good. I let those fans run for several hours to clear out anything, and I'll zip that door up. The other thing is gonna be respirator. You need to have full paint protection for yourself, PPE instead of PPF. So we're gonna get to that in just a second. We'll spray that. 4 coats, and I will stop and do some short videos in between and tell you what I think. Thanks. Hey there, Rod Pusey again, Detail Bookie RoadFS. Let's talk about the prep work before we spray the panel. Clean microfiber towel, isopropyl alcohol wipe down, and then a water-based, approved, if you will, tack cloth to wipe off any dirt and dust and get all those grease and oils. Other couple things you want to deal with. Tyvek suit, you got to protect yourself, or if you have a paint booth, suit, and then a respirator, good quality respirator. You got to have those things. So we're going to wipe down the panel. Isopropyl alcohol, it's inside that booth, so I'm not going to video that real quick. Get the panel wiped down, get it tacked off, and then I'm going to put on some rubber gloves, my protective suit, and we're going to spray those first coats. Okay, so we're just finishing up. Basically, when you're wiping something down with isopropyl alcohol, it dries really fast. I prefer to put it on the actual rag just because I can control the amount of how wet it is, and if I need to get more, I can feel it. But most people will spray it on there, and then just give it a quick wipe down, and then you need to get your tack cloth. So you just want to make sure there's no grease or dust or dirt that is built up on there while I was putting all this stuff together or doing anything else. And then the tack cloth, just make sure that if there's any little tiny dust on it at all, that it would come off of there. Again, test panel, don't really care about it, and that's why I'm using it, but I'm going through the same procedure to make sure that we're getting off everything. Again, here's my rag when I'm done. It's wet, but it's not dirty, which tells me that I've got a lot of the stuff off there. I'm gonna get a tack cloth. We're gonna tack this thing off and then go to town spraying. Okay, tack cloth, if you're not used to them, they're sticky. They don't stick to you. You wanna make sure you give it a good wipe down with that against any little dust particles that are left on the panel. Anywhere there's like a groove or anything like this, you wanna make sure you get in there really well. Get all of the edges, everywhere on the surface. Little spots like this where there's a finger hole for your gas cap, anything like that. Okay, I did that without my mask on and everything before I painted, just to show you what it's like. Before I spray, I actually will do it again because I'm going in and out of the booth and I've got no paint protection on.
and or personal protection on, and we're going to go ahead and do that one more time. But I wanted to just show you so that you could hear me and do this. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'll have my suit on, and then we're actually going to spray this. We'll show you what it's like after I spray it. Hey there, it's Rod and Jody. Jody popped in.
This is pretty cool.
And this is this after the first coat of the base. You can see it's a nice flat color. It flattened it out. It came out really good. I am so far impressed with the spray on that. I followed the directions on the paint gun. We've got a big fan pattern. I've got it at about 29 bars, which is about 25 psi. So yeah, this came out pretty good. So far, it is just from the very initial impressions, it's covering up some light scratches. I know that that's not supposed to be one of its characteristics, but it is covering up some light scratches. I've got 3 more coats of this to go. I'll be measuring it to make sure it's the full 4 mils, and then we'll put the base coat, or the top coat on. And we're just about to put the top coat on this PeelClear. I've got my 4 coats on here. Last couple of coats were real thick, so there's just a couple of little spots that are still flashing off. But it actually turned out really well. I'm very pleased with how it looked. It's got that nice flat finish. You can see some little wet spots up in here. One of the things I noticed it did is it did cover up some of the scratches. I'll see how that comes out with the top coat. I did not expect it to take out any defects. This was really a scratched up panel. There's some deep stuff that didn't come out, but there were some little scratches in here that it literally virtually removed them.
Yeah, that one's completely gone. That
yeah,
was
there was a big
before.
scratch across here, and so I'll be looking at that later on the videos from before. But this turned out really well. One thing that I didn't video it is that I did not clean one section very well, and I had to go back over it with some alcohol. That was on me. That was the guy behind the gun, but it took it very well, and this is coming out really great. So last step is the top coat. We'll cut another video of that, and then I'll come back after it's cured and we'll do some more. Just finishing up the PeelClear demo that I did. Last thing they'd recommend is checking the paint thickness. I cheated because I have a piece of the panel that we did not PeelClear, and this is the gas door. It was painted at the same time as the car and everything, measured it before and after, and I know I've got over 4 mils on there. In fact, I have 6. Measured that with my paint thickness gauge and measured the panel itself, and I'm 6 mils. So we know we've got that taken care of. That's an important piece of this. All finished up, cleaned up my paint gun, did all that. Let's go in here and see what we got. It's still pretty stinky, but we got temporary paint booth here. And mostly to protect my shop. But here's the finished product. It's still tacky, but it came out really good. I'm impressed with it. It did cover up a lot of the issues that I had. There's a lot of texture on here that I don't like when I paint something, but I think that's more about the guy that painted it than the product. I'll let you know when I start peeling this off. Again, according to the training I went through and the instructions, this is going to be a bridge area. This is where you're going to have the PeelClear touching the tape and the panel. So I'm going to have to score that with a knife and not go through to the original paint to get that off. I did that on purpose, and we'll do some more videos when I untape this, but right now it's still really wet. So I want to give it a chance to completely dry before I mess with it at all. And then we'll go through and we'll take some of the tape off and go back through it. Overall, I'm very impressed with the product. This is not a DIY. This is not a, like, I'm just a detailer. This is somebody that understands paint mixtures and ratios and spraying and things like that. Definitely would be worth getting trained on this firsthand. I recommend doing something like this, like a panel, a hood, something from a junkyard before you get started. So next video is going to be me untaping it. I'll score that tape over there. I put a hard line across the top of this edge up here, again on purpose, so that I could score it and show you what that's like. That's more like your traditional PPF. You want to score the PeelClear. You do not want to go through to the base paint, because obviously you're damaging it. And then we'll go over that, and then I will talk about you know, what we're going to do next with this panel to kind of throw some stuff at it and, you know, put it out in the weather and see what it looks like. So, hey there, it's RoadFS again, and I'm doing some untaping. And what I did is I left a couple of spots that I did not score. So I want to show you why you have to score anything that's ridged. So let's look up here, and I scored these parts over here, and you see how there's a nice, you might not be able to see it, it's kind of showing up a little bit, but there's a nice crisp line down here. And then up here I did not score it. So we're going to peel some of this off and see what happens on the upper part where I did not score it, just to show you what it does. And it's right up here. There it is. See how it's starting to actually peel? And then see up above it where I've scored it, it's coming off really nice, and it's not leaving a, you know, it's designed to peel off when you're done with it, not when you're done taping it off. So again, this right here, that's the reason you have to score any areas. That you're talking about you're fixing that again. Everything else I've taped off, and I've taped off, I scored. This up here, you can see this nice, well, hopefully you'll be able to, right there, nice crisp line where I scored that, and I was able to, I left this line on purpose when we started. If you remember, I taped this all off, and I left this line so you can see a really crisp line of where I did not have the PeelClear. And there you go. Anybody that wants to see the behind the scenes of a really crappy panel, there you go. That is why we use it as a crappy panel. It's got so much filler and crap in it. But again, overall, I am extremely pleased with this product. I would use this on my own stuff. I mean, it came out, you know, it came out glossy. With this, you can still, you know, correct any paint, do anything like that. It's got a lot of characteristics of your traditional paint that I would, you know, love. So as I was saying, you would be able to correct this if you wanted to. You know, in the videos, the training videos at PeelClear, they show him taking a paint nib and sanding it down and polishing it. So this is like a traditional clear over the top of this. It just has the characteristics so you can peel it off and you're done. I'm really pleased with the way it curved around. I'm pleased with the way I could tape it off and leave the edges where I wanted them. I'm very impressed with it. It took a lot of the defects out. Just like you would think if you'd sprayed clear on it. There's some really deep scratches right in here that I cannot see. They came out really well. So again, Rod Pusey from RoadFS and Detail Bookie, testing out this PeelClear product. I am going to give this a big thumbs up. If I was rating it, probably 9 out of 10. And the reason I give it a 9 is only because I had to clean my paint gun of the base coat, and it was pretty sticky. And that is not a critique of the product. That's just me and my anal retentiveness. So tune in to the RoadFS Detail Bookie podcast more. We'll be taking some more looks at some of the stuff like this. We're going to be doing another hood on somebody's actual car that we're going to be covering with it. But overall, PeelClear, fantastic product. I can see the benefits of this product. Like I said, I got about 6 mils from the initial where I measured up here where it's metal. Down here, it's 95 mils. This is a lot of body filler, 95 mils. And up here, it's not, but I got about 6 mils when I was done. So that's a really good thing. I can feel that line and feel that it's on there. That would be extremely protective of your paint. So tune in later on. We'll be doing some other stuff. Really appreciate PeelClear, Paolo in Canada, and the whole PeelClear team for sending me this kit and allowing me to do this demo. We are gonna, like I said, we're gonna put it on Jody's hood here in a little while, but I wanted to get this out of the way because I wanted to test it on something first. I'm pretty impressed with the product. I'm not very impressed with my painting skills today. It looks a little dry in some spots where I hit it, but overall looks pretty good.